There are few characters more iconic in the Warcraft universe than Sylvanas Windrunner. Her story is so tragic and haunting, it is almost impossible to not get affected by it. She is one of the strongest and most influential female characters in Azeroth, and she has always been very well received with the player base. Right now it is Hallows End in WoW, and to celebrate that we are going to look back through time to see how the Dark Lady has evolved from Warcraft 3 up until today. This is the evolution of Sylvanas Windrunner. Enjoy! While Sylvanas' story begins long before the Third War, she is first introduced in Warcraft 3 Reign of Chaos. In the third chapter of the Undead campaign, Arthas begins his assault on Quel'Thalas. This is the moment we first see Ranger General Sylvanas Windrunner, who along with her forces become an obstacle the player must fight again and again.
You are not welcome here. I am Sylvanas Windrunner, Ranger General of Silvermoon. I advise you to turn back now.
It is you who should turn back, Sylvanas. Death itself has come to your land.
Do your worst. The Elf Gate to the Inner Kingdom is protected by our most powerful enchantments. You shall not pass. Fall back to the second gate. Fall back!
The Elf Gate has fallen. Onward, my warriors. Onward to victory!
The assault continues into the fifth mission of the campaign, the Fall of Silvermoon. Here the outnumbered High Elves crumble under the pressure of the Scourge. Sylvanas is killed, and in sadistic retribution for resisting him so fiercely, Arthas transforms her into a Banshee instead of granting her a clean death.
I salute your bravery, Elf, but the chase is over.
Then I'll make my stand here, Butcher. Anara la Balari. Finish it. I deserve a clean death.
After all you've put me through, woman, the last thing I'll give you is the peace of death.
No, you wouldn't dare.
Sylvanas' story continues in the expansion pack of Warcraft 3, The Frozen Throne. In the Scourge campaign Legacy of the Damned, we get to play as Sylvanas on her journey from a mindless slave to the Queen of the Forsaken.
It's over, Balnazar. Varamothras.
Yes, my lady.
Kill him.
But it is forbidden for one of the Nathrazim to kill another. My defection was one thing, but this...
I require one last test of your loyalty, Dreadlord. Do it.
You wouldn't dare.
There, your business is done. Now I want you wretched animals out of my city before I...
Kill him, too.
Gladly.
The capital city is ours, but we are no longer part of the Scourge. From here on out, we shall be known as the Forsaken. We will find our own path in this world, Dreadlord, and slaughter anyone who stands in our way.
Sylvanas has been in the World of Warcraft since the game was released. In vanilla we find her in Undercity, where she rules over the Forsaken. Back then she looked very different from today. Quel'Thalas, High Elves and Blood Elves would not be introduced properly until the Burning Crusade. Because of this, there were no real High Elf models to base her appearance on, and unlike today where most faction leaders have their own unique appearances, vanilla was a time where a lot of our lore heroes used the same models as the playable characters. So in lack of a proper High Elf model, Sylvanas was actually represented by a slightly tweaked Night Elf character. And this wasn't unique to Sylvanas either. Back before the Burning Crusade, reskinned Night Elves was simply how the residents of Quel'Thalas was represented. Now, in vanilla, Sylvanas didn't really play a major role. Since her goal was to one day take vengeance upon Arthas, her big moments in the spotlight were still quite far away. However, in patch 1.8, Hallows End was added to the game. Unlike today, the Alliance didn't have the Wickerman festival back then. Nowadays they do, and Gen Greymane holds a speech along with it, but before Cataclysm, this was a Forsaken only thing. Sylvanas' speech to celebrate the Forsaken's liberation of the Scourge didn't used to have any sound files, and the speech itself was different. Back then it went like this. Children of the night, heed your queen's call. I join you in the celebration of this most revered of nights, the night we Forsaken broke the Scourge's yoke of oppression. It is this night that our enemies fear us the most. It is this night that we show our enemies what it means to stand against the Forsaken. We burn the effigy of the Wicker Man as a symbol of our struggle against those who would oppose us. We wear the ashes of the burnt Wicker Man as a symbol of our never-ending fight against those who would enslave us. Now is the time to shake the world to its foundations. Now is the time to remind those who would enslave us that we shall never yield. Now is the time of the Forsaken. Power to the Forsaken, now and forever. In present day, if you visit Undercity during Hallows End at 4:10 PM, 8:10 PM or midnight, you will instead be able to hear the following speech.
Children of the grave, heed my call. In life, we suffered unspeakable tragedies. We watched as our homes were razed to the ground. We cried out in agony as our families were cut down before our eyes. Finally, in the face of such atrocities, we were denied even the release of death. Now, we burn this Wicker Man as a symbol of our victory against old enemies. We paint our faces with the ash to send a message to new enemies. A declaration to those who fear and revile us as monsters. To those who would question our place in this world, we are not monsters. We are not the mindless wretches of a ghoul army. No! We are a force even more terrifying. We are a chill in a coward's spine. We are the instruments of an unyielding ire. We are the Forsaken.
In the Burning Crusade, Blood Elves were introduced as a playable race, but despite this, Sylvanas' appearance didn't change. Even though there were now plenty of Blood Elves running around, their old Ranger General still looked like a Night Elf. In the game, she plays a small part in the Quel'Thalas starting experience. In the Ghostlands, you will come across a place called Windrunner Spire, which is Sylvanas' former residence. Here you will find an item called the Lady's Necklace, which was once a gift to Sylvanas from her older sister, Alleria. When this is delivered to the Dark Lady in Undercity, she will summon a choir of high elven banshees and perform the Lament of the Highborn. This moment was also shown in the official machinima published by Blizzard in 2007. In this machinima, along with the Lament, we get to see the Scourge invasion of Quel'Thalas and Sylvanas' transformation to Undead. Throughout the early years of WoW, Sylvanas as a character played only minor parts. However, with Wrath of the Lich King, it was finally her time to shine. It was obvious she would play a big part in taking Arthas down, and she is present pretty much through the entire expansion. Now it was finally time for her appearance to get an update. During the Lich King beta, she was given a retextured Blood Elf model, and by patch 3.0.2, she was given the unique appearance we know today. Now, during the war with the Lich King, the main Horde forces were led by Garrosh Hellscream and located in the Borean Tundra. In the meantime, the Forsaken, under direct leadership of Sylvanas Windrunner, assaulted from the Howling Fjord. Under the banner named Hand of Vengeance, they brought with them the perfected plague that would be able to strike back at the Scourge. Sylvanas had overseen the creation and the research of this plague for years, and now it was finally time to use it. However, in one of the most memorable events of Wrath of the Lich King, Grand Apothecary Putris betrayed Sylvanas and used the plague on the Scourge, the Alliance and the Horde at the same time during the Battle of the Wrathgate. At the same time, an uprising broke out within Undercity, as the Dreadlord Varimathras, in league with Putris, took control over it. Sylvanas managed to escape this and made her way to Orgrimmar. She and Thrall immediately launched a counterattack, and this was played out through a unique event with variations for both the Horde and the Alliance called the Battle for Undercity. Horde players got to fight alongside Sylvanas as she led the assault herself. She successfully kills Varimathras and reclaims the throne. At the same time, King Varian has launched an attack on Undercity from the sewers, and he and the Alliance take out Putris. As soon as Sylvanas is back in control, she makes her way to Northrend to finally deliver vengeance upon Arthas. In Northrend, she plays a big role in the Frozen Halls dungeons, as we go with her to Arthas' private chambers in Halls of Reflection. Now, in the Icecrown Citadel, players can farm the legendary weapon Shadowmourne. At the end of this grind, another reward is given out in form of a sealed chest containing various items. Among other things, it contains the blood of Sylvanas, and when brought to the Dark Lady, players will be given Sylvanas' music box. This is a toy with a 1-hour cooldown that, when activated, summons a choir of banshees to sing the Lament of the Highborn. In the Cataclysm expansion, Sylvanas appears as a boss in the Endtime instance. In this alternate timeline, she is a tormented echo unable to find peace. The real Sylvanas also appears several times in the revamped questing experience. She is a central character in the Worgen starting zone, as the Forsaken are trying to conquer Gilneas. This will establish a hate between her and Gen Greymane, which we still can see today in Legion. In Silverpine Forest, she is confronted by Warchief Garrosh Hellscream because of her continuous use of the Forsaken Blight and corrupted Valkyr.
What you have done here, Sylvanas, it goes against the laws of nature. Disgusting is the only word I have to describe it.
Warchief, without these new Forsaken, my people would die out. Our hold upon Gilneas and Northern Lordaeron would crumble.
Have you given any thought to what this means, Sylvanas? What difference is there between you and the Lich King now?
Isn't it obvious, Warchief? I serve the Horde.
Watch your clever mouth, bitch. Chromosh, you stay behind and make sure the Banshee Queen is well guarded. I will be expecting a full report when next we meet. Remember, Sylvanas, eventually we all have to stand before our Maker and face judgment. Your day may come sooner than others.
After Arthas' defeat, Sylvanas is searching for ways to ensure her people's survival, as the Forsaken cannot procreate. This is where the Valkyrs come in play. Sylvanas is even killed by the end of the Silverpine questline, but brought back by the Valkyrs Agatha, Athura and Dashla. And after this, Sylvanas is certain that the Valkyr is the solution to her problem. Sylvanas later makes another appearance during the Battle of Andorhal, disguised as the NPC Lindsay Ravenson. Her unconventional methods to achieve her goals continues to be questioned by those around her. Besides Garrosh Hellscream, there's an apothecary that leaves the Forsaken and joins the Argent Crusade. He says that he used to admire the Dark Lady, but now something has changed within her. Lorthamar also expresses his disgust for her during the siege of Orgrimmar, where she jokes about raising his fallen soldiers to fight again as undead.
I can raise your dead, Regent Lord. Your rangers can fight again.
Sylvanas, you will leave our corpses alone, or I will deal with you here and now.
When Garrosh eventually falls and Vol'jin takes on the role as war chief, Sylvanas is clear about the fact that she has no loyalty for him. With all of this in mind, the events in the beginning of World of Warcraft Legion really comes as a twist. During the Battle of the Broken Shore, Sylvanas and her Dark Rangers is fighting with the rest of the Horde and the Alliance to fend off the Burning Legion. During this battle, Warchief Vol'jin is mortally wounded, and when he asks Sylvanas not to make the Horde fall that day, she decides to abandon the Alliance and calls for retreat.
Do not let the Horde die this day.
Back in Orgrimmar, the spirits grants Vol'jin clarity, and with his dying breath he makes her the new war chief.
Windrunner, come forward.
War Chief.
The lower spirits say death will claim me soon.
In the end, death claims us all. But the Horde will live on.
I have never trusted you. Nor would I have ever imagined in our darkest time that you would be the one to save us. The spirits have granted me clarity, a vision. They whisper a name. Many will not understand, but you must step out of the shadows and lead. You must be War Chief.
Vol'jin is dead. Who among you will help me avenge him?
In Legion, Sylvanas' ambition to defy death and ensure a future of the Forsaken race plays a big part of the Stormheim story. The things she do to achieve her goals really shows that Blizzard is not afraid to bring this character to the extremes, despite how many enemies she makes along the way. Her role in Legion is probably far from over, and the question remains where it will go from here. She has evolved and grown throughout the World of Warcraft from a passive faction leader to the war chief of the Horde, and right now she is the last of the original vanilla leaders still in command. It is possible that her actions will one day become so extreme that we have to deal with her and take her down. Like Garrosh said, everyone has to face judgment someday, and whether you like Sylvanas or not, she has become such a popular character that eventually making her our enemy would leave few players unaffected. She is such an iconic character for the Warcraft franchise that she has been granted a spot in the Nexus in Heroes of the Storm along with the rest of Blizzard's most popular personalities. Now I would love to hear your thoughts about Sylvanas. Are you a fan of the character, or can't you wait until the day that we finally kill her off? And do you have any speculations about where Blizzard will bring the character now that we have her out in the spotlight? I'm always excited about your thoughts in the comments down below. And I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. And if you want to see more of my content in the future, hit that subscribe button and I will be back with more stuff very soon. But until then, take care.